Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. And our top story today, Greens do good from farm to able. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more are Chantel Walker. She's the Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director, and Jen Faust, who is Director of Communications and Operations Manager for the Read Autism Services. Ladies, thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thanks for having us, Jeff.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. We've got a lot to unpack here, but before we kind of get into this really awesome, I'm going to say awesome, I'm going to use that 80s word, awesome initiative. Chantel, I want to talk about Read Autism Services. Exactly who is Read Autism Services?
Sure. Thanks, Jeff. And we are very comfortable with you using the word awesome to describe what we're doing. We agree with you. So Read Autism Services is really sort of an umbrella organization that encompasses several other nonprofit organizations. So our flagship program is called Read Academy, and that's our school-based program for ages 3 to 21. We are based on the principles of applied behavior analysis, and we infuse technology in everything that we do in our learning. We also have a 1-to-1 staff to student ratio, so we're very proud of the teaching and the education that occurs at Read Academy. And that program really started in 2003, and as our founding families and their children started to get a little bit older, we asked what every older teen family asks, and that's what's next. And that's how Read Next became a reality. So we knew that after 21, services really drop off for parents and for their children. A lot of parents describe it as falling off a cliff. And we knew that we needed to do better by the people that we had in our program. So we started Read Next Day program, which is vocational training, life skills during normal business hours. And a few years later, we opened our first residence, Read Next Residence, which is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week supervised group home for adults with autism. And we have now one residence, one apartment, and a second residence coming online here this summer. So we're very excited about that. We also have a charitable foundation, the Read Foundation for Autism, which is really sort of the engine that fuels all of these new and exciting programs. And specifically the one we're here to talk about today, which is Greens Do Good, our hydroponic indoor vertical farm located in Hackensack, New Jersey. So that's a lot of moving parts. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, but we're doing a lot under Read Autism Services.
Yeah, and this is, look, Jen, this is obviously, Chantel laid it out great. You know, it's not only helping children develop and grow who may have autism, but also that next step. And I think the reason why I reached out to y'all is, I saw the information about Greens to Good, and this is really important about making sure that people are part of our society and contributing, right? And with Greens to Good, and it's Farm to Able was the name of the article, and I really love that because it's really enabling people and giving people an opportunity to contribute in a way that they feel makes sense.
I couldn't agree more. We are so proud of our workforce development piece, which brings teens and young adults in neighboring districts and from other parts of the community into the farm to learn those valuable work skills and tee them up for paid employment opportunities, either with us or with other agricultural entities in the area. We really feel like the value they're bringing is priceless.
Yeah. And Jeff, if I could, I'd just like to add one of the data points that we learned some time ago that has really stuck with us is less than half of 25-year-olds with autism have ever held a paying job. And we know from our work with adults with autism that they bring a tremendous amount of skill and heart and dedication and commitment to their roles. And so we want to do what we can to make that situation a more positive one for our adults.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Chantel. How does someone who's an adult may have have autism? How do they become part of the program?
Thank you for asking that. So we have sort of a two-step process. The first thing is that if you are still in your high school enjoying your educational entitlements, we can create internship programs that allow those transition students into our farm to sample work experience in an agricultural setting and see if you have the inclination. We really respect preference. So if you are interested in farming and you'd like to learn more about sustainability, we welcome you. So we can create those internships where you would come to our farm once or twice a week and really learn. After that, after you turn 21, we would love to be able to offer you paid employment at our farm. We are a micro farm, though. I think this is sort of important to note. We are just over 3,000 square feet of vertical farming space. So we can only hire so many. We're sort of at capacity at the moment. And what we're trying to do now is make friends with other farms in the area. It could be a traditional soil farm or like us, indoor hydroponics, and encourage them to also hire these folks that we are training and teeing up for these employment opportunities.
Yeah, and Chantel, I mean, we have covered sustainability, and I want to talk about the vertical farm a little bit, because we talk about sustainability, we talk about ESG. This is kind of the new thing, for lack of a better term, and it's kind of big in New Jersey and where you have to build on top, right? I came from the New York area. We are building on top of, right? They build buildings on top of buildings. So this is kind of the future for urban areas.
Right. And we understood the importance of bringing healthy, organic food to essentially food deserts, this urban agriculture concept. We saw it as an opportunity to get in early and do some training so that our teens and adults can really have, a leg up in terms of employment opportunities as these opportunities continue to expand throughout New Jersey. If you drove past our farm, you would never know it was a farm. It's in a very nondescript sort of, warehouse space. And until you walk in, you really don't see the magic from the outside.
Yeah. And Jen, but this is growing. I mean, you mentioned you're trying to there are other vertical farms, other farms in the New Jersey tri-state area. You're trying to build relationship. This is not a one and done type of thing. I mean, and you're seeing this, I would think, pop up in other parts of the United States and maybe other parts of the world.
Absolutely. We're the first in New Jersey to enter into farming as a social enterprise. Like, our mission from the beginning has always been to create employment opportunities and use revenue to support our individuals with autism. But we are not unique in the sense of realizing that traditional farms use far more water, energy, pesticides and herbicides and things that we are trying to move away from. So our indoor space is, like we said, hydroponic, which means it's completely soil free. We use less water, like 90% less than a traditional farm. We use less energy, and we're able to grow 365 days a year. And part of that is also impressing upon our neighbors and area, folks in the area about eating local. It's so important to know where your food is coming from. Today, largely food is grown for transportation, not for consumption. And we are trying to change the narrative around that and educate our community about, the importance of eating locally grown food. And then obviously the social component is just as important. Buy from us. It's local, it's pesticide-free, herbicide-free, soil-free, vegan. Oh, and also you're supporting adults with autism.
Yeah, look, you said it yourself. We don't even need to run a commercial. But I do have to go to a commercial break, ladies. So when we come back, we'll talk more about vertical farming and how you can be involved as well. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking to Chantel Walker. She's Chief Executive Officer and Executive Director. And also Jen Faust. She is Communications Director and also Operations Manager for Reed Autism Services. Ladies, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Chantel, I want to, we're going through a lot of inflationary pressure right now. We've got inflationary prices, but we've also had some scarcity around food. You mentioned the pandemic. Jen mentioned trucking in this food. What can you tell us about scarcity and how you and the team at Reed are kind of meeting that need?
Well, thank you for asking, Jeff. We're really meeting this need on a very hyper-local level. When the pandemic was at its peak and people who perhaps had never had to use a food bank before or access food services were finding themselves in a position where they needed to do so. And so we became involved with the Bergen Food Security Task Force to help address that growing community need. Really, we're donating monthly to a local food pantry so that all of its clients can have organic, healthy produce at their tables. We know that access to healthy food is critical to health outcomes, and that's why we're here. We want to continue to partner with community agencies, whether that be food banks or our local medical clinics that are serving the underserved in our community, and make sure that they do have access to the fresh produce that we grow at Greens Do Good.
Yeah, really important. And because if you're just not consuming healthy food, I'm just thinking about one of the biggest expenses in retirement and later in life, healthcare, right? It's hundreds of thousands of dollars today. It's going to be even more tomorrow. Jen, if you can get food that is sustainable, it's good for you, it might minimize some of those health expenses. So there's a lot of benefit from a sustainability point of view, an ESG point of view. I can really see how this would really help people longer term.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, wouldn't it be neat if doctors wrote prescriptions for food instead of medicine? I mean, that's really what we're all about, providing healthy food locally grown.
Yeah. And Jen, how do you talked about trucking in the first segment? Mm-hmm. Where can we find, if you're living in New Jersey, in the tri-state area, you mentioned the food pantry where you're helping out people in Bergen County, but where can people gain access to the fruits that you're building in the 3,000 square foot, or building, you're not building the food, but you're growing the food in the building that's 3,000 square feet. Where can people obtain that food?
Well, first of all, we offer home delivery. So any customer in, northern New Jersey, around Bergen County, can order off of our website, and we will deliver contact-free to their doorstep. We also offer our greens at local ShopRites. It can also be found in area country clubs, some private chefs, and restaurants.
Very good. Yeah, and I as a former New Jerseyan, I went to many a ShopRite and enjoyed my time shopping with my wife there. I would say that she probably did not enjoy that as much as I did because I was there with her. I'm not the best shopper. Ladies, Chantel, in terms of, we talked about how you gain access to this program. What's the training like, to go through this? I mean, you mentioned there's internship and then there's hiring opportunities. Do you learn about the ins and outs of farming, whether it's preparing planting the seeds or preparing the soil to make sure that it is able to receive the seeds and grow appropriately, or how much water you need to grow a particular type of crop?
Right. So really, our teens with autism that participate in our Greens Do Good internship program are doing what we call job sampling. And it's very much as it sounds. They're really trying different aspects of jobs, not only at Greens Do Good, but throughout the community, to find out what they enjoy, what they're, where they show aptitude and interest. So that's really the first step. We do an initial assessment period where they're really getting to know the ins and outs of the farm, as you said, from seeding and planting to harvesting, packaging, perhaps even delivering. So they're going through all of those different steps to really find where they shine. And after that initial assessment period, then they are sort of settling into their jobs that they are accustomed to when they arrive at the farm. For the adults, it's very similar. They are also taking turns doing different aspects of the work at the farm to see where they find their most joy and where they're productive. And they are always sort of involved with our farmer, our farm tech, and we also have a BCBA at the farm to help with any kind of education or training need that they may have.
Last question, ladies. Jen, I'll leave it to you, and then maybe Chantel, you can pick up on it as well. People out there watching may not live in New Jersey. They may not be in the tri-state area, but they can participate. They can contribute. I know you mentioned the Reed Foundation, which is the charitable giving arm. If someone wants to contribute, whether it's an individual or a corporation, financial services organization, for example, how do they contribute or be a part of what Reed is doing?
That's a wonderful question. I mean, there is a lot of information on our Reed Foundation for Autism website about charitable donations and all of the good that we do with that. But specifically, Greens Do Good is a model that can be replicated, and we'd be happy to partner with like-minded individuals around the country about creating a sort of similar hydroponic farm that could employ adults in their areas as well. But in addition to that, every penny donated directly supports an individual with autism. So we're always so appreciative of people with charitable hearts.
Yeah, and Chantel, anything you want to add? I know you kind of oversee the whole thing. I think Jen laid it out really well. Anything that last minute thoughts you have?
Jen did lay it out very well. I'll just say this. In the next decade, we know that 1 million teens with autism are going to age out of their school entitlement services. And while I love and believe in our workforce development program for teens, if we cannot bridge that gap between their teen years and their adult years with paid employment, then we are missing an important and vital component to the future for the autism community. So in terms of what those charitable dollars mean for us, it means expansion, right? Jen said we're a micro farm. And we want to expand that because we want to employ as many adults with autism in this capacity as we possibly can. I think it's a really critical issue facing not only the autism community, but our country as this many teens are aging out of their entitlement services. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, really put well, ladies. Great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us. Look, we look forward to having you back on again very soon to learn how things are progressing. Take care.
Thank you very much.
And that wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in retirement markets, technology, personal finance, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. We're back again tomorrow, so until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.